Welcome back to this part 3 training of Facebook ads for real estate agents. So chances are, if you are watching this particular video, you have probably seen parts 1 and parts 2. If you haven't seen parts 1 and part 2, then I highly recommend that you stop this video immediately. Don't even watch it yet, and actually backtrack. I'm pretty sure there's some links around this video where you can access part 1 and part 2 of Facebook ads. We go over everything in part 1 and part 2, from how to actually get started with Facebook's ads manager, business manager, how to actually set up your Facebook pixel and get that connected to your real estate website. We cover how to build an ad from scratch, just everything that you need to know in order to get started with Facebook ads for your real estate business. Now, in part 3 was kind of the child of lots of questions. So we got a lot of email feedback with some follow-up questions, because in part 2, we built out an ad from scratch, and it was specifically a buyer ad. But there were some questions about, okay, where do we go from here? And some people might be wondering, oh, well, how come you don't just, build an online course for Facebook ads? And trust me, the thought has actually crossed our minds, but you know that we love to bring you as much value as possible here at Designed for Agents. And it really means a lot to us that you even send us your questions. It means a lot to us that you sit here with us through these trainings, and you learn with us, you learn from us, and we just want to pay it forward. So with that being said, we're gonna dive in. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so that way we can move along with this presentation. So we're gonna go full screen mode on this one, because I wanna make sure that we go over everything in detail. So we are diving deep in this training. Advanced strategies, all right? Advanced strategies. I am talking retargeting. I am talking just the biggest mistakes that you can make with your Facebook ads. I'm actually going to show you examples of Facebook ads that we have actually done, what we said in them, what the targeting was, whether or not we retargeted, what the creative looked like, how I created the creative. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to break down retargeting and how it is that you can actually accomplish that, because one of the biggest questions that we got from you was, how do you retarget? How do you retarget based on people watching your video? How do you retarget based on people following your social media or interacting with it? How do you retarget website visitors? So I'm actually going to break that down for you inside of this training. All right, we're going to go deep. And I'm also going to throw in there how to create custom audiences and lookalike audiences, and break down what those are and what they mean. All right, so as usual, I just want you to know that this training is brought to you by Designed for Agents. We are an e-commerce store and also kind of an education hub. We have over 25 hours at the time of recording this video, possibly more, 25 hours of free training for real estate agents and brokers. There's so much to learn, from how to generate leads organically on Instagram, how to brand yourself as a real estate agent, how to handle the finances of your real estate business, how to become a broker owner. There's a lot of information across our website in the education area, so feel free to check that out. And if you want to buy a hoodie or a t-shirt while you're at it, we welcome you to do that. I'm pretty sure there's a special coupon code somewhere around this video that you'll be able to use to enjoy a percentage off of your order. So let's jump in here. So before we dive into some of the more advanced strategies that I mentioned at the beginning of this, I want to cover, let's go ahead and share the screen one more time. Had a little error there. I want to make sure that I cover the biggest mistakes that agents make, right? And we kind of covered this in parts 1 and part 2. I mentioned some things, some issues that I notice a lot of real estate agents tend to do frequently when it comes to Facebook ads. But I want to reiterate some of the basic ones, and then some of the more kind of like overlooked ones, right? So first things first, and I know that this might seem obvious, but having no strategy behind your ad. I have seen a lot of real estate agents come to me and ask, I set up an ad and nobody clicked it, or no one sent me a message through Messenger. And realistically, that's your fault. You know, it's just a matter of you not knowing what it is that you're doing, which is totally okay. I commend you for actually going ahead and trying to run an ad. You know, you took a step for your business in the right direction, but we've got to have some strategy behind that, which we'll talk about in part 3, which you're here right now for, right? But you want to make sure that you're not just going out there and kind of like, you know, doing like throwing pasta at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? This is not the time to do that. If you wanted to try that back, you know, when Facebook ads were newer and not everybody was doing it, that would be something different. You probably would have had a lot of success with that. But right now, all things being said, especially that we're in 2020, a lot more people are running ads, a lot more real estate agents are running ads, and you're gonna notice that what used to work doesn't work anymore. All right, so you want to make sure that you have an actual strategy behind your ad before you ever even build it, right? What's the MO? Who are you targeting and why, right? What are you trying to get at it? Are you trying to build brand, or are you trying to lead generate? Which brings me into mistake number 2, right? One of the biggest mistakes that I see, probably I would say almost number 1, is mistaking branding for lead generation. All right. So I know that this is Facebook ads part 3, and we're definitely going to dive deep, but I really need you to understand this before you go ahead and try any of these advanced strategies that I'm going to show you. And that is making sure that you comprehend that branding is just you trying to get your business out there, become recognized, right? Sort of become a household name. Lead generation is where you are actively trying to get consumers to provide you with their name, email, and phone number, so that way they can potentially become a client or customer, right? You want to be very specific about differentiating between the two, and make sure that when you come up with your strategy for your ad, you're clear on which one it is. And we'll talk a little bit about, or actually we'll talk in depth about what kinds of ads are for branding and what kinds of ads are specifically for lead generation, right? But you want to make sure that you're differentiating between the two very clearly and concisely, and that this is part of your strategy when you're coming up with your Facebook ads, right? Mistake number 3 is using Messenger without bot experience, right? So I tread lightly when I say the word bot, because a lot of people tend to think like, oh, bots, I don't want to use them, right? And I'm not going to teach you how to use bots inside of this training, but I have seen real estate agents who will run ads for lead generation, and the call to action, which you should know by now what that means if you watched part 1 and part 2, the call to action is for the consumer to send you a message on Facebook Messenger. There's nothing wrong with this call to action. There's a time and a place for it. I think that it's a good call to action, just as any call to action, but there's a caveat. You need to make sure that you have some automations set up, and that's where bots can come into play, right? And not bots like the negative sense of the word, bots in terms of something like a service called ManyChat, right? You can set up different funnels and things like that. All right, so let me just make sure that we're not getting any pop-ups here. Okay, so I want to make sure that you know, if you're gonna approach Facebook ads and use Messenger as your call to action, that you actually have a specific plan in place to automatically follow up with these leads who write to you, and a specific strategy within your bots, right? Within the automations that you're going to set up, right? That funnel, you have a strategy in place to actually convert these leads and get their name, email, and phone number, right? So let me just make sure that I close my WhatsApp over here. All right, perfect. So let's go back and share screen. Okay, so mistake number 4, all right, not requiring lead capture on your website, right? I cannot say this enough, and I've said it in part 1, I've said it in part 2. Do not send consumers to your real estate website if you are not asking them for their name, email, phone number, all right? This is absolutely paramount. It is a requirement. It's in the list of prerequisites that we went over in training 1 and 2. right? You want to make sure that you have lead capture set up on your website. What is lead capture? It is making sure that people's information, the consumer, right, buyers, sellers, investors, renters, whoever it is that you're targeting, that they are going to have a spot there that is going to require them, not just ask them, but require them, right? You're spending money here. You want to make sure you get results, right? Require them to provide their name, email, phone number in order to get what it is that you're offering them, right? And I'm going to show you an example, a perfect example of a website that actually does that. Now, mistake number 5, not monitoring your ads. Facebook ads is not something that you just set and forget. All right, it requires TLC. It requires that you watch over it like a baby, okay? You've got to set up your ads, and within 24 hours, go take a look at them, see how they're operating, see what's going on. Is it performing well? Is it not performing well? Is it kind of stagnant? Is there anything that you might consider tweaking within another 48 hours? Right? I'm not saying that real estate agents should obsess about their Facebook ads when they run them, but definitely pay attention to them. I would say the worst thing that you could do is set an ad and then not look at it for 2 weeks and just let it spend its money, right? So this is where mistakes are made, and this is where you can prevent yourself from wasting a lot of money, and we don't want you to waste a lot of money, all right? Now, mistake number 6, which definitely goes into the top mistakes, top 3, which is why I saved it for last, and that is your leads, or the mistake is saying that leads suck. All right, leads do not suck, okay? The problem with this is, and I just want to spend a little bit of time with this because, real estate agents I've heard it time and time again. I've seen it inside of Facebook groups where people are focused on Facebook ads and they're sharing their experience with it. I've seen it on message boards. Real estate agents will say, I've run Facebook ads and the leads never answer the phone. I've run Facebook ads and none of them are ready to move. I've run Facebook ads and everybody who clicks on it is in a low budget bracket and they're just, the leads suck, right? It's the wrong email, phone number, right? The leads don't suck. I say this with love. It's you who sucks, okay? We've got to tweak some things in your strategy. We've got to tweak some things in your ability to convert leads. We've got to tweak some things in your follow-up game, right? We've got to tweak some things within your lead volume, right? We talked about this in parts 1 and part 2 of these Facebook ad trainings that we've done here together. And this idea of conversion ratios, right? I've explained to you before, and I'm saying it again because it is so important for you to understand in order to have success with Facebook ads. If you want to close 12 deals a year, let's just say 12 deals, right? For some people, that's really modest. For some people, that would change their entire life. If you want to close 12 deals per year, and you know the information, because I've told you, and because you can also look it up online, that the average real estate agent, average, right? There's not below average or above average. The average real estate agent needs 100 leads in order to close on 1, right? A conversion ratio of 1 to 100, all right? If we know this piece of information and you want to close 12 deals a year, this means that you would need 1,200 leads per year. 1,200 leads, 1,200 human beings to give you their name, email, and phone number in order to technically get 12 closings. So with that piece of information in mind, does it not seem a little unfair for real estate agents to walk around saying Facebook ad leads suck when they're probably only getting about 20 leads a month or maybe 60 leads a month, something like that, right? That's not going to work, right? It makes no sense, all right? The problem is within your ability to convert. The problem is within your strategy. The problem is within your targeting. There's a whole list of things that you can fix in order to make it so that the leads are the right kind of leads. And at the end of the day, the leads are human, right? Don't treat a lead like a lead. Treat them like a human. If you approach this with building relationships and genuinely wanting to help people, you're going to have a good time with Facebook ads. It's going to be fun and you're going to be successful with it. All right. So just keep that in mind, food for thought, these biggest mistakes that real estate agents make, all right? So let's answer a very big question. You know, I sent out an email to the list of everybody who is with us here at Designed for Agents. And I asked you all, you know, what are some big questions? What would you like me to answer in part 3 of this Facebook ads series? And one big question was, should I send the leads to Messenger, that being Facebook Messenger, or should I send them to my Facebook profile? And the answer is never, ever, ever send them to your social media profile unless you are running a branding ad or an ad to generate page likes, okay? Right? You never, ever send them to your profile unless you are running an ad where the MO for you is that you want them to like your page or follow your page, or you just want them to see that you exist on social media. Now, if this is something that you want to spend money on and you know you're not too crazy about generating leads, by all means, spend your money and go with that strategy. Not going to stop you there. Everybody has a different reason to run ads. All right. If that's your MO, cool. But if that is not your MO, right, and your MO is, oh, I want to get leads because I want to close more deals, then do not send them to your profile. Okay. Now, this question about Messenger is a little more tricky, which we covered this inside of the biggest mistakes, right? So if you're gonna send consumers to Facebook Messenger, you just want to make sure you have a plan in place, right? You want to make sure you have automations set up. If you're not the kind of person who's savvy, you know, with tech, and that's going to be a little complicated for you to figure out, find someone who will set it up for you that you can, you know, compensate them and they'll do it. Find a service that will do it, or just nix it all together. Because to be honest with you, personally, my professional opinion when it comes to Facebook ads, Messenger is cool and all, but I genuinely like the idea of sending leads to your actual website and getting them like that. You could text message them directly and call them directly, right? So that's my stance regarding that. Now, another thing was, here we go. Yeah, Facebook Messenger, right? Unless, never, ever, ever send them to Facebook Messenger unless you have bot automations set up and have experience with it, right? So let's talk about this idea of sending the leads to your website, right? Now, I love this personally. I'm not big on Messenger or bots or anything like that. I'm big on sending them directly to your website and being able to collect that pixel information, right? And if you're watching this training, please, I hope that you watched part 1 and part 2, so that way we're on the same page when I use different Facebook ads type jargon like pixel, right? So assuming that you have the Facebook pixel set up, right, you can have a lot of fun with retargeting, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, right? So I just want you to make sure that if you're sending people to your real estate website, make sure that you are sending them to a website that is optimized for lead generation, and do not send them to your homepage. All right, you don't ever send them to your real estate homepage. Real estate websites, specifically the homepages, are not set up for lead generation. All right, this is going to lead to a lot of browsing, and you could argue with me all day and say, well, Amanda, I have a real estate website that's built for lead generation straight from the homepage. If that is the case, and there's not too many distractions on your homepage and different areas to click and blog posts to get lost in, by all means, fine, you win. Send people to your particular homepage. But you would be what I call an anomaly in the industry. Most real estate agents do not have a website where the homepage is set up for lead generation, right? Where it's not optimized for that. So I want to make sure that when you are sending people from your Facebook ad to your website, it is set up for lead generation. So let me actually show you an example of this kind of website. Now, what I'm about to show you, okay, it's related to the particular brokerage that I am with. My name is Amanda Bojorquez. You probably know this is part 3, right? I am a real estate agent in Queens and Long Island, New York, with eXp Realty, the Ian Alexander team, right? So I'm going to show you the actual backend, some screenshots of a tool that I have access to because of eXp Realty, and that tool is KV Core, right? So I'm not here to sell you on eXp Realty. That is not what this is about, right? And regardless if I were with KW or Douglas Elliman or any other brokerage, right? That's not what we're here for. We are at Designed for Agents. So we are talking strictly Facebook ads here, but I do want to give you a perfect example, because if you take a look at what I'm about to show you and your website does this, then that means that you are in the perfect situation to actually get this done, right? You're all set up. So let me show you what my particular website and CRM does for me, right? And in the chance that you possibly have questions about this particular piece of technology that I'm about to show you, you can always send me a DM on social media at Real Estate with Amanda, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. So this is my real estate website, and actually I can show you what it looks like live. So this is my actual site, right? And now this is an out-of-the-box solution, and this is something that eXp Realty gives to us once we get onboarded, but it's actually a really, really powerful tool. So let me show you. It comes with a CRM. So you are looking at the dashboard of my CRM. Now, I've redacted some information just because I want to protect the leads that I have, protect their names and information and stuff like that. But you can see here that the 3 particular properties shown here are properties that a lead was looking at. This is just this morning, right? I took these screens this morning. So if you take a look at this, you can see that I have visibility of what properties they're looking at. These are leads that already became leads, and you can see towards the right-hand side that there's a new lead that came in, and you can see Source IA Insta, right? So that actually came from organic Instagram. I'm not 100% positive where the 3 leads we're looking at in front of us with the redacted information and the green arrow pointing to it. Not sure if those came specifically from Instagram or from Facebook ads. I do have more leads from ads than Instagram, but you know, that's neither here nor there. What I want you to see is that it gives me visibility, right? The second thing I want to show you is that I'm going to show you a seller Facebook ad during this training, right? So stay with me. These are actual seller leads who filled out home valuations. Of course, I covered their names, I covered their specific addresses, but you can see their towns. It's in Long Island, right? These are actual seller leads, all right? So one thing that's really cool, what you're looking at, so what you were looking at before is my dashboard. This is what I see as a real estate agent when I log into KV Core, right? Now, one option that we have is something in the marketing autopilot section, right? We have a bunch of different tools inside of KV Core, but there's a smart campaigns area. So what I mean when I say that your website is optimized for lead generation, right? This is what I mean. I have something called smart campaigns, and within the smart campaigns, right, I am set up with already 23 different campaigns, right, that are basically funnels, right? They are follow-up automations. These are automations that will happen in my sleep or while I'm awake and busy and running out and about. And these automations will email and text message the leads that I get, whether from Facebook ads or Instagram, organic marketing, any of that stuff, right? Now, there's a bunch of different automations here. I have one set up for open houses. I have one set up for sellers. I have one set up for buyers from Instagram, buyers from Facebook ads. There's a variety of different smart campaigns that I have set up within KV Core. But KV Core gives it to you. Like, it's ready to go out the box once you get access to it, right? So I was really excited about this. And we tested this right away with our Facebook ads, and it worked like a charm, right? So what you're looking at right now is one of the campaigns, and I don't want to dive deep into like KV Core and like how to do this stuff, but particularly the green arrow, you can see that 4 minutes after a lead becomes a lead on my website, they are text messaged, right? So it says like, hey, thanks for checking out properties on my site. Just wanted to see if you are, if you had any questions about the properties, right? Just trying to spark conversation. And you can see that KV Core I actually have it set up right above the green arrow for 72 hours right there in that little spot. You can see that I have it set up where KV Core is going to call me 3 times, right? 1 call over 3 days until I pick up and I connect with the lead, right? So KV Core will call me and then it'll ask me if, you know, I'm ready to speak to the lead, then it'll call the lead for me and connect me, right? Super awesome, right? This is crazy, like, and this follow-up automation, look down there in the green arrow, goes on to day 720, right? So I am basically following up with this lead with emails, text messages, and phone calls and voicemails for 720 days, right? That is lengthy, but this is what I mean, like super powerful tool. Now, this is where I show you the part where my website is set up for lead generation, right? This is an example of a squeeze page. So inside of KV Core, I have the ability, and some of you, like if you're with Keller Williams, you probably have command, and I'm pretty sure it does this. I think Douglas Elliman might have an option as well. And you can also get access to KV Core even if you're not with EXP. It's going to run you a couple hundred or 700 per month. You know, we don't pay anything really for it at EXP, but that's neither here nor there. What you're looking at right now is a squeeze page, and this squeeze page will actually ask the lead once they click on a property, right? So I'm going to run the Facebook ad, which I'll show you in just a couple of minutes. We run the Facebook ads. When the consumer clicks on the ad, they arrive at this page. Now they see all these properties, right? For you, it might be a different market area. You might not be in Long Island or New York, but they're going to look at this squeeze page. And the moment that they click on a property to view more information about it, it's going to prompt them for their email, right? Once they hit that, it's going to ask them for their phone number to use it as their password. 9 out of 10 times, everybody puts their phone number and they don't use like a regular password. And then, you know, their information, it continues from there, right? So this is what I mean. They click on the ad, they get to the squeeze page. In order to see a property, it asks them for their information gets collected, and then that gets sent to me over here. And then I am following up with them with smart campaigns, right? Whichever one fits the bill. And I'm following up for basically 720 days until I am able to get in contact with that lead and you know, see if they are ready now, ready later, you know, got to figure it out, right? So I just wanted to show you what the squeeze page area looks like inside of KV Core. So I don't know if your website does this, but what's really awesome is I can create squeeze pages for multi-properties, single properties, seller squeeze pages, right? Or market reports. So the seller squeeze page is actually what I use for our seller Facebook ads, right? And these things work. Right? And the beauty of it is that when you create the squeeze pages, you're able to attach a hashtag, right? Or multiple hashtags to the squeeze page. And then from there, those hashtags are used as a trigger for your smart campaigns. So basically this is like super robust. I might have lost some of you within like the nitty-gritty details of this, but I wanted to show you a perfect example of a website and a piece of technology that through and through really just like hits it out of the park, and like you have a high chance of converting because you have those automations set up, right? Because imagine you get 100 leads for your Facebook ad and you have trouble following up with them, right? Month 1, you have 100 leads, you're calling and texting and emailing. Month 2, you get another 100 leads. Now you got 200 leads that you're calling, texting, and emailing. Month 3, you have 300 leads. That's a lot. Like that's going to compound on top of each other. And at some point, leads are going to fall through the cracks because you're not going to be following up with them if you're doing this all manually, right? So word of advice, get a tool that will help you automate some of these beginning, you know, entry actions when the lead is new. So that way you can just focus on actually converting them once you get them on the phone, right? Different skill in and of itself aside from Facebook ads, but different training for a different day. We actually have a training like that on Design for Agents. So you can go to the Education Center after this and learn how to convert buyer leads. So just remember that you want to make sure that your website is optimized for lead generation, right? So let's talk a little bit about lead generation ads versus branding ads. So I'm actually going to break down what types of ads would be considered lead generation and what types of ads would be considered branding ads. right? I'm actually going to show you examples of ads as well. So what you're looking at right now is an actual advertisement that we have run before, right? A singular image of a just sold listing, right? And it's not even a professional photo, right? We did the buyer side on this transaction, and this was taken like from my camera phone, and I totally didn't clean the lens filter. So not the best photo, but it still looks good, right? And this template was created on Canva. So you can see here the actual copy on top, and I welcome you. Copy what I wrote, totally, like write it down right now. You can pause the video and copy the exact copy. No, it's not a problem. I don't mind. So buying or selling will get you where you're going within budget and in your timeline. Check out the newest homes for sale and view photos, descriptions, details, prices, and more, right? You can see down there, the CTA is view homes just like this one now. All right, where did this advertisement take them? To the exact page that I just showed you, this squeeze page. And then it asked them for their information. And then they became a lead, right? Let me show you that part. Then they became a lead, right? And then I followed up with them, except automatically, not myself, right? And then when I get in contact with them, we set up a buyer's appointment and we make a game plan, right? Now that's for buyers, right? So this is an example of a lead generation ad. This is specific to generating leads. Now, here's the kicker. If you look at the piece of creative that I'm using, you know, some of you might say, oh, you know, 20% rule with Facebook and using text. Facebook approved this and the ad performed well. So I would say that this is totally fine. Now, the beauty of it is you can see our logo there. This is also doubles as a piece of branding, right? Because the logo is there. Our logo is right next to something that says just sold. It's got a purchase price, right? You can, like, you get a sense that we get things done, right? And in the piece of ad copy, right, we'll get you where you're going within budget and in your timeline, right? We've made a promise now, right? We've set a standard, right? That falls into branding. So you can do this within your lead generation ads, but you just want to be specific behind the strategy of what's happening after someone clicks on the ad, right? Who is clicking on the ad? The fact that this property is at a $680,000 price point is not by mistake. It's not because, oh, you know, we just sold this one, let's use this one. There were other ones that we just sold that were at a $300,000 price point and some that were at $1 million price point. We chose this one for a specific reason because we approach Facebook ads with strategy, right? So another example is this particular ad. So I showed you this one, right? This is a lead generation ad for buyers. Let's take a look at this one. This one is a carousel ad. So carousel ads can actually be really fun. Zillow uses carousel ads, StreetEasy, Trulia. I've seen carousel ads from all of them, and they're using your listings, by the way, if you didn't know. So this carousel ad performed way better than this singular ad. And this carousel ad actually has the same exact copy, except in this one, we used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We used 6 different pieces of creative, 6 different images, 6 different properties. Some were just sold, some were under contract, some were accepted offer, and some were for sale, right? Across different areas in our marketplace and across different property types, because in New York, we have condos, co-ops, and houses, right? Now, this performed really, really well. And the reasoning behind this is that since it's a carousel ad, Facebook is going to choose which one is the best performing card from the carousel, right? So these 6 pieces of creative with the different copy and calls to actions on them, they are called cards, right? Carousel cards. Now, Facebook will actually see which one is getting more traction and show that one first. It will also show the card that is likely to perform better depending on the person and their account, what they typically react to. So this is this is straight up gold for you to use, especially if you are in an office or part of a team, or a broker team or brokerage, or maybe you yourself are a producer, but you want to get more business and add Facebook ads to your repertoire. This is a great option where you can use carousel cards, and really kind of give a variety of different options there for people who are looking to buy or sell, right? So this was a dual ad. Now, this is a lead generation ad. Let's talk about the targeting, right? Because I promised you that I would show you what it is that we use for the targeting. So you know from part 2 of our Facebook ads training, right? The last time we saw each other, you have to be in the special ads category, which has some limitations, right? You can't target based on age. You can't target based on, certain factors that hit the demographics of, going against fair housing. So with that being said, what can you target, right? You can target your area, right, location wise, but it has to be within a 15-mile radius. And we talked about this in part 2. Now, I want to show you, this is an exact screenshot of the targeting that we used for this ad, and it performed well, and we have people that we're working with on it. And you can see interest, right? Mortgage calculator, mortgage loans, first-time buyer, interest rate, Trulia, Homes.com, Zillow, house hunting, starter home, first-time home buyer grant, or pre-qualification parentheses lending, right? Those are some targeting options. And we also targeted some different areas within Long Island that we were focusing on, right? Now, it performed really well. If you would like to write these down and use it, pause the video, jot them down, and use them in your own Facebook ads, because they probably will work since it worked for us. Of course, it depends on your market area, but it works. So let's jump into a seller ad, right? So I've shown you a buyer ad, right? I've shown you buyer lead generation, singular image ad, buyer lead generation carousel ad with carousel cards and same copy, but different pieces of different call to actions, right? Now, before I jump into the seller ad, actually, I wanted to show you, this is where I created the carousel ad cards. So this is completely done inside of Canva, and these are all just drag and drop. So I created all of these inside of Canva. I just wanted you to know that as a little piece of information in case you were wondering how it was that I designed those. Now, seller ad. Here's an example of a seller ad. Now, this also has quite a bit of text on it, but believe it or not, it performed well. We got seller leads, right? Now, very simple. A recently sold logo is on there, right? Big bright letters, sold, right? Where do your eyes go here? If you were served this ad and you were thinking about selling your home, where would your eyes move across this piece of creative? What's your home worth? Sold, 45 above ask, us, logo. Or maybe it goes, sold, what's your home worth? 45 above ask, us, logo, right? It could move any number of different ways, but the idea is that the message you're trying to get across pops, right? So we've got a property photo here, we've got our logo here, we have, awesome results, over 18 offers. I don't know if you know, but at the time of recording this video, the Long Island, New York market is hot. And a lot of places like that in America are doing really, really great as well. So we have a very clear call to action here, and I'm going to show you the targeting for this ad, all right? And not for nothing, I'm just going to put it out there. We really should be charging for this. I've had several conversations with Alex. We should be charging for this. And I just want to say, before I move forward with the seller ad and showing you everything in the back end, we really appreciate your feedback. So if you are enjoying this training, I would really love it, and it would mean the world to Alex and I and to everyone at Design for Agents, because our company is growing. It would mean a lot for us if you reached out to us either on Instagram at Design for Agents, or reached out to Alex on Instagram at Alex Fezzolani, or myself at Real Estate with Amanda, and you message us, DM us, let us know that you are enjoying this training, or that you've enjoyed the past trainings that we've had, because it really does let us know that, okay, we're doing the right thing, we're bringing value, people are learning from this, and we are genuinely, like, we genuinely care, we want to know, so that way we can do more of this and help you. All right, so let's jump back in. All right, now this is what the ad looks like. This is something that I would like for you to take a peek at. Now, what are you looking at here? One, on the right-hand side, I'm showing you what the ad looks like on Instagram stories. That looks pretty darn good, if you ask me. I could be biased because I made it. But the second thing that I want you to take a look at is you can see that there's 3 different pieces of copy for the primary text right in the center of your screen. 3 different pieces of primary text and 3 different pieces, I'm only showing 2 on the screenshot, sorry about that, but 3 different pieces of headline text, which is your call to action. Now, what does this mean? Within Facebook ads, you actually have the option to set it up where you can use multiple types of ad copy for your call to action and for your primary text. And Facebook will decide based on data, based on AI technology, based on the ad's performance and the ad copy's performance, which piece of ad copy it should show to people. Right? So you don't have to just come up with one thing to say and kind of cross your fingers and hope that it works, right? You can actually test different things out within one ad, which is really, really awesome. And I recommend that if you are running ads, you take advantage of your ability to do this, all right? So let's get into the targeting, right? Now, again, special ads category, right? We're targeting sellers, but nothing changes. Special ads category, make sure that you do that. Little side note for you, if you do not click on the special ads category option and you try to run ads for real estate, you will get your ads rejected. And if you get your ads rejected too many times, your ad account will get disabled. So don't fall into that category. Now, let's look at the targeting. So what kind of targeting did we use? Because we, it's limited. It's limited. Facebook has, set some rules, some boundaries. A lot of it has to do with fair housing. So, our hands are tied. Lord, we went with interest, renovation, reverse mortgage, for sale by owner, home equity loan, home repair, home improvement, interest rate, cash out refinancing, home equity line of credit, home equity or refinancing. Now, if you want to pause this video and write those down, go ahead. But I do want to say something. And what I want to say is, you can see that there's some pieces of targeting in there that might seem specific to mortgage loans. And you might be wondering, especially if you're newer, not so experienced agent, or maybe you don't work with a lot of different lenders in terms of a close relationship. But the reason that we have those specific pieces of targeting in terms of the interest for this seller Facebook ad is because we are a resource, right? As a real estate agent, you have to remember that you are a resource. At least I hope you are. We come into contact with a lot of different professionals within this industry, some of them being lenders, some of them being contractors, home improvement people, plumbers, lawyers, all types of things. So let's say, for example, that because of this specific type of targeting, you get a potential seller, but they don't want to sell this year. And maybe they were more so just curious about what their property is worth. They don't want to sell, but they do want to refinance. You have no idea, or maybe you do, I don't know. I don't know what your experience level is, but you have no idea, possibly, how happy a lender would be if you referred them that piece of business. Now think about what could happen if they remember that. They might refer you business, right? A lot of agents ask the question like, oh, how do I get lenders to give me buyers and sellers, right? Because lenders know sellers, lenders know buyers, right? And who they give those leads to is dependent on their relationship with real estate agents. This is a way for you to bring value, right? And for you to be a resource, to the seller and say, hey, I can connect you with a lender. I work with them all the time, or whatever the case is, right? Oh, you've been thinking about, renovating? I know someone, great, like amazing. I can connect you, right? You have options here with this type of targeting, all right? Don't focus so much on only getting sellers. There's different opportunities here that will come back to you in the form of beautiful karma, all right? So this was our specific targeting for the seller ad. We did it in Nassau County, New York, and it was great. Now, lead generation ads, right? We just covered 2 for buyers, 1 for sellers. Let's take a look at a branding ad, right? I haven't ever showed you a branding ad. So you can see here, this is a video, and I'm going to show you what the video looks like. But a very clear call to action, interested in selling your home, right? Now for this particular video, we don't really care too much about the call to action. We more so just want to have it there in case someone is interested in selling, that they'll actually click through to there, right? But more so, we just wanted this video to get lots of views, and we wanted people to know us, to know our face, right? So let me actually show you this video. I just want to make sure that when I share my screen, I share my computer sound. There we go. So let's go ahead and go to Dropbox. There's Alex's beautiful face. So let's see, bring my volume down a little lower. Here we go. This is the video. I won't play the whole thing, but I do want you to see the beginning.
Welcome to Forest Hills, the home of our newest 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom listing. Before we dive into that, let me tell you a little more about the area. We have history. We have culture. We have bars and restaurants. We have shopping. And the parking in this area is amazing. All right, fine, that might be a lie, but there's a train really close by. So with that being said, let's go check out this new unit. What took you guys so long? It was like the train is like a block away. But I'm gonna hand you off to Amanda so she can tell you a little more about this amazing co-op.
Welcome to the Hampshire, a well-maintained pre-war building in the heart of Forest Hills. You're about to take a look at a 1-bedroom unit inside of this beautiful building that features hardwood floors, high ceilings, and tons of closet space. Now, when I say this place is in the heart of Forest Hills, like Alex said, it is right next to the train. You are in the middle of all of the shops and restaurants, which is something people really look forward to. So let's go take a look at the unit.
All right, so that is the video tour for that. Now, that was a branding ad. So that is specific, the specific job of this particular ad and video is to showcase Alex's face, showcase my face, right? Showcase our new listing. Obviously we want to get it sold, but you would run an ad like this not to necessarily get leads, right? You might get leads. If you do, awesome, but it's more so for people to see the video, for you to be in front of people's eyes, for them to see the brand, for them to see you, see that you're doing real estate, see that you're having fun doing it, see that you produce high quality videos to market properties, right? To showcase things like that. So that is a perfect example of a branding ad. There's different ways to run branding ads, but this is, I just wanted to give you a quick example of one. So let's list out the different types, right? So we have got a list here of types of lead generation ads, right? Now, remember, I'm going to show you how to retarget in just a minute, right? Don't forget that this is part of that, part of one of the strategies. Now, lead generation, here's the list. I'm not going to go through and read each part, but for the most part, we covered this in part 2. I just want to remind you, these are specific types of lead generation ads. You just want to make sure that you're strategic with your offer, right? Are you offering them a list of properties? Are you offering them an ebook download? Are you offering them an event of some kind, an educational post, right? You've got to pick, you've got to decide. This is a lead, this is a list of branding ads, right? These are specific to branding ads. And I know that you might be looking at this and saying, oh, you know, there's some overlap here. And it's true, there is overlap on these lists. And it's because it all depends on what happens after the consumer clicks on your ad. What is it that you're asking them to do? What was the call to action, right? What was your targeting? We have to be specific. We need to be strategic. But I wanted to give you a list and remind you of types of lead generation ads and types of branding ads. So let's jump into retargeting. Retargeting can be a lot of fun. Let me take a sip of coffee. You guys know I love coffee during these trainings. I shouldn't even say that I love coffee in general. Pretty sure you know that as well. I think in all 25 hours of all the trainings we have on this website, I'm drinking coffee in all of them. So let's jump into retargeting. There's some prerequisites here, all right? Very clear prerequisites. If you are trying to retarget people who have visited your website, you need to make sure that you have the Facebook Pixel installed. If by any chance you have gotten this far in this training and you don't know what a Facebook Pixel is, please go back to part 2 and make sure that you check that out. And part 1, because in part 1, we actually set up the Facebook Pixel. So part 1 of this Facebook ad series, we go over how to set up the Facebook Pixel. Make sure that you have that set up and it's installed on your website. Now, I just want to, for those who maybe don't know, let's backtrack. Retargeting, what is it? You know, when you visit Amazon.com and then you go to like CBS or ABC News or Fox or CNN, whatever your choice is, or maybe you go to Facebook or something and you start getting hit with ads that are from Amazon for basically like kind of the same products you were looking at. This happens for DSW, this happens for makeup brands, this happens for even grocery brands, right? Blue Apron, Green Chef, all of that stuff, they retarget you. The idea is that they want to stay in front of your face. They want to continuously hit you with ads, right? In the past, this would have come in the form of, you know, playing commercials over and over again on television. But now, because we always have our smartphones in front of our faces, we just get hit with retargeting ads over and over and over again. And this is actually a very cost-effective process, a very cost-effective strategy to implement with your Facebook ads arsenal, right? So let's go back into the prerequisites. If you want to retarget people who visited your website, that being, let's say that you ran a seller ad, right? You wanted to generate seller leads. They visited your website. Maybe they didn't become a lead, right? Or maybe they became a lead, but you didn't get a chance to get them on the phone. They haven't replied to any of the text messages or emails. A retargeting ad is really great in this case because you can retarget them, right? Based on the fact that they became a seller lead, which we'll talk about in a sec. You can retarget them and you can show them listing videos. You can literally record a video of yourself saying whatever it is that you want to say that would entice a seller, right, to reach out to you or show that you know what you're talking about, right? And the video would basically only be shown to the people who visited your website who were seller leads, right? It's totally possible. So you can have a lot of fun with this. Now, how you access, this situation is the link right below at the bottom of this slide, business.facebook.com/adsmanager/audiences, right? Remember this link, write it down, screenshot it. You want to make sure that you go to this section because we're going to jump in to how to create custom audiences because that is how you would retarget, right? So how do custom audiences play into retargeting? In order to run a Facebook ad where you retarget sellers or buyers or anyone who visited your website, and keep in mind, you don't just have to retarget them, you can retarget other types of people, other groups, and we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. Now, you have the option to actually set up an ad, and instead of setting up all this targeting, right, where you're putting like first-time home buyer and this and that, instead, you just put custom audience. You click the audience that you created. I'm going to show you how to create that audience right now. But this is the idea, right? That's how it works. You create the ad, and for the audience section, instead of doing all that targeting and stuff like that, you're just gonna select the custom audience that you created, all right? So let's go ahead and share our screen again. And all right, here we go. So you want to click on create a custom audience, right? So remember, you are going to visit that website down below, business.facebook.com/adsmanager/audiences, right? That is the link. Assuming that you watched part 1 and part 2 of this Facebook ads training series, you should already have your Facebook ads manager set up, so you'll be able to access this as long as you are logged into your Facebook account. It will take you to here. Now this page, you are going to hit that blue button, create a custom audience. Why? Because we're creating a custom audience right now. Who do you want your custom audience to be created from? Your website, right? Because we want to retarget people who visited our website. So you're going to click specifically on website. Now this page is going to pop up. You are going to choose the pixel that you set up, assuming that you set it up. If you haven't, you got time, right? You're going to choose the pixel that you set up. You are going to choose all website visitors, or, there's a drop-down menu there with different options. You can choose it based on your particular strategy, right? But for the purposes of this example, we did all website visitors in the past 90 days. If you wanted to do 180 days, you could. Totally an option, right? And then you're going to want to name your custom audience so that you know which one they are, because you might wind up creating multiple custom audiences like we are in this video, right? And then you'll hit create audience. This will trigger this page, right? Where you're going to see something like pending, or it might say 1,000. So Facebook needs a little bit of time to populate the results of this. So you want to make sure that you give it a little time. Usually it'll give you a notification, but I would say usually a couple of hours is good. If you have like an immense amount of traffic on your Facebook, on your real estate website, then you might need like a day for it to populate all of that information. But for the most part, a couple of hours, maybe an hour or two will be fine for most real estate agents. Now, that is how you create a custom audience, right, for targeting website visitors, right? So we made sure that the Facebook pixel is installed. We visited business.facebook.com/adsmanager/audiences. We clicked on the blue button, create a custom audience. We clicked on website. We chose our pixel that we already had installed, and we've had it installed for a while because it's been collecting that information, which is the information that we need, right? Side note, if you just installed your Facebook pixel, it's not going to have much data for you. So do that sooner than later, right? We chose how far back we want to go. We named our audience and we created it. Now it's populating. What do we do if we want to retarget people who have engaged with our social media profiles? Maybe your Facebook page or your Instagram account. If you are a real estate agent who has been focusing heavily on organic social media marketing and branding yourself, but you haven't been doing paid ads, you actually can do this part without setting up a Facebook pixel. The only thing that you need to do is make sure that your Instagram account is connected to your Facebook business page, all right? So how do you do that? Same page, link below, business.facebook.com/adsmanager/audiences. You're going to click on the blue button, create a custom audience, and instead you're going to click on Instagram account. If you want to do Facebook page, you can click that one as well. And this will actually pop up just like the last one. So you're going to choose your Instagram account, and it should be connected there if you have it connected. And then you are going to choose how far back you want to go, right? What's the rule here? So for this particular example, we went with everyone who engaged with your profile, with your professional account in the past 365 days. And you can run an ad to them, right? And then you're going to name it so that you know what it is, right? And then you're going to click create audience, and then it'll do the same thing as last time, right? So remember, it might say pending, it might say below 1,000. Give it time to populate, and it'll do its thing, and then you'll have that information, and then you can hit the ground running with setting up a Facebook ad to retarget those people. Now, what if you want to retarget people who watched some of your video property tours, right? Maybe you do lots of videos or educational content on your Facebook page or Instagram account, and you want to be able to retarget the people who watched a certain amount of that video, right? Because if they watched a certain amount of that video, chances are they might be interested in whatever that piece of content was. So the way that you would do this is same thing, business.facebook.com/ads manager/audiences. Create a custom audience, hit video instead. And this one's a little different. So this one, you have options in terms of engagement. So you can choose to run an ad based on anyone who viewed at least 3 seconds of the video, 25% of the video. You could even do it based on people who have watched 95% of the video, right? You can get very strategic here. You can run a different ad for people who maybe watched 25% of the video, and then a second ad specifically for people who watched 95% of the video, right? Because the people who watch 95% might be a little warmer, and you might want to hit them with a like convert on my website ad, right? A lead generation one. And maybe the people who watch 25% of the video, you want to maybe warm them up and hit them with another educational video ad or a branding ad or something like that, right? Choice is yours, but you have options, which can get very, very fun if you are geeky about advertising and marketing like I am. So the cool thing here is that you get to choose videos. So right underneath, there'll be a blue link. It's easy to miss. So green arrow, right? You'll hit choose videos, and you'll be able to choose which videos you want to, put up for consideration for who watched the certain percentages of those videos. So you'll select them, the ones that you want to use or the particular one that you want to use, and then you'll hit that blue confirm button on the bottom right side. And then you will designate how many days like pass. Like, so let's say I have 180 days here. That means anyone who has watched those videos that I selected over the last 180 days. So even if it was 180 days ago or 179 days ago, if they fall into that category, they're going to be part of my custom audience. And then I'm going to be able to run an ad against them, right? So you'll name your audience so that you know what it's about. And then you'll hit that blue create audience button. Same thing, it'll start populating the audience, give it some time to do its thing, and then you'll have all of that data at your fingertips for use, right? One question that I oftentimes get about it is, can I get a list? Like if I create the audience, will I be able to download a list of those specific people? No. Not how it works. Facebook isn't going to give you their name, email, phone number just because they're in that audience. So retargeting is really great to do after you run branding ads, right? This is where you get really warm people. So I just wanted to throw that little tidbit out there. So let's talk about lookalike audiences, right? Because we just created a couple of custom audiences, which I actually recommend everybody go through and like after this video, whenever you have time, create those custom audiences, right? Just so that you have them loaded up in the pipeline when you're ready to execute on those Facebook ads and tackle retargeting. Now, what is a lookalike audience, right? A lookalike audience is basically where you create an audience that is based off of a specific group of people, right? And you give Facebook this information. So for example, you can create a lookalike audience based on some of the custom audiences that we created, right? So a custom audience is based on data that exists already for customers or clients or interested people, followers, video viewers, all of that stuff. A custom audience is specific to that. A custom audience can also be, here's a little like secret pro tip for you. Yes, you could take a list of expireds and FSBOs and upload them and create a custom audience with them. I won't say what you can do with that, but have fun. So what is a lookalike audience, right? So you can basically take a custom audience and tell Facebook, I would like to create a larger audience based off of the data Facebook has of these people in my custom audience, right? So let's create a lookalike audience. If you didn't understand what a lookalike audience is, this next part might help illustrate that. So I have here a custom audience based on website visitors who have become a lead in the last 180 days. So these are not website visitors in general. These are website visitors who have specifically become a lead. So they filled out the name, email, phone number on my real estate website. Remember the KV Core website I showed you? They've become a lead on that website in the past 180 days. Now, what's cool is you're going to be able to hit actions on the top right side. I'm not sure if my little video head is covering the button. I just tried moving my video down. I'm not sure if it will move with Zoom. We shall see in the recording. But there's an actions button up there, and you're going to hit that, and you'll see some options. You're going to hit create lookalike, right? And that's going to open up this area. Now, this area is where you are actually going to be able to build out your lookalike audience. So remember, we said that the lookalike audience, right, is based on an existing source, right? So there's many different types of sources, and you'll see when you're creating this that you have a lot of options. But for this particular example, which is a great example because you have a list of people who have become leads on your website, why not create a lookalike audience of people who are similar to those people? That's all a lookalike audience is. It's exactly what it's called, a lookalike. They look like them, right? Not physically, but in terms of demographics and likelihood to become a lead on your website. So you're going to name it so you remember what it is, right? Now, underneath here, you see some percentages across the line. What these percentages represent is how much this lookalike audience will resemble the source, right? The original audience. Now, 1% is going to be very tight. It's going to keep it that these people have a lot of stuff in common in terms of, you know, the data that Facebook has collected on them. And you know that Facebook has a lot of data on us and our shopping habits, our browsing habits, everything. So 1% is very, very close, but you're going to get a smaller audience size if you choose 1%. So you could go 2%. Personally, I would recommend bracketing. So you would create a lookalike audience that is 1%. Then you would make a second one. So you do this process again for 2%. Then you do it again for 3%. And then you do it again for 4%. So that's going to give you 4 different audiences. What you can do is test a various amount of advertisements and see which audience possibly performs better, right? What type of ad works better for them? Is 4% too wide? Is that too wide of a net, right? Is 1% better? Is 2%? You know, you gotta figure it out. Facebook ads takes testing, all right? So I just want to remind you before I leave you with the final 2 pieces of advice. That this training is brought to you by Designed for Agents. All right, we have lots of other trainings available on our website, and we also have daily planners. We have t-shirts, hoodies, sports bras, leggings, marketing templates available for you. We have action plans, which literally have private trainings in them, marketing templates in them, and day-by-day marketing action plans that they literally walk you through what to do in order to market yourself. Super, super awesome. Go check it out if you're interested. Now let's jump into my final advice, right? We're at the end of this training. I want to leave you with 2 pieces of advice before we go. Number 1 is that the best Facebook ad is an ad that has an irresistible offer and requires the consumer to give you something in exchange for them receiving something, right? So you want to give them the opportunity to access an irresistible offer in exchange for giving you their name, email, phone number, all right? The rest of the work is up to you. That is basically the best Facebook ad. It's we get asked, what's the best Facebook ad? That's the best Facebook ad. Can I like build you one that works? No, it requires testing. You've got to test. All right. Final advice number 2, just a little pleasant reminder that the leads don't suck. It's not them, it's you. Okay. So just remember that when you are tackling Facebook ads, that 1 to 100 ratio, you need lead volume. Okay. You need lead volume in order to have success with Facebook ads. So you got to keep this in mind when you're coming up with your budget. How much are you going to spend? How much you spend is dependent on how many leads you need, and how good you are at Facebook ads, right? And I hope that these trainings have actually helped you with your Facebook ad strategy and actually getting started and diving in. I truly hope that they have been. So just a little reminder, we are at the end of this training. I want to thank you for making it this far with me, for watching all 3 trainings, which I hope that you have. And if you haven't, please go back to part 1 and take it in order, because it will definitely all make more sense. And if you have enjoyed this training or any of the trainings that we have provided to you in the past, you know, you've shared this time with me, and you've shared this time with Alex and other trainings, let us know. It really helps when you let us know. And we appreciate you and everything that you have helped us build with Design for Agents. All right, so we will see you, or I will see you in the next training, and I'll see you on social media if we're connected on there.